Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Case by Case. Welcome in everybody in the chat so far. A lot of new faces. Excited for that. This channel right now, we are discussing the Delphi murders. And today's going to be an open discussion. We are going to address some issues regarding the Delphi chaos, which is unfortunate. I'm personally going to be addressing some things regarding Reese Davis, and Lester will be joining me here shortly. And then later on today, we will have Veronica back on, since last time that she was here, we had some technical difficulties. Veronica is a friend of Shelby Hicks, who is a witness, testified at trial regarding the Delphi murders. So I'm going to have her back on and kind of give her a little bit broader platform to tell her story. So yeah, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe. I'm having to use an avatar today because we've had massive storms. I'm talking massive storms here in Columbus, Ohio. And we've had tornado warnings. I was going to do this yesterday, but I lost complete Wi-Fi connection for about 10 hours. And the night before, we had tornado warnings. We've had about 5 inches of rain over the past 48 hours. So it's been a fun ride. Hey, Critical Thinker. Make sure you guys give a shout out to my mods. I have the best mods on YouTube. Yes, the background music is still running. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit, but I think I'm going to keep it playing low in the background because it just fills the gaps. So, is everybody in chat familiar with who Veronica is? I want to apologize. So Quester and I made a boo-boo yesterday. So when Quester is from across the pond. Quester lives outside of London. And I know that there's been some discussion about who Quester really is, etc. But and I understand the questioning, because he's very private. Quester is not using a voice changer. Quester is not someone that any of you know locally. Quester is someone that it took me a long time, and it took him a long time for us to build a relationship and trust, and I trust him with everything. But he's not someone that is using a voice changer or is diabolical or whatever the accusations may be. He lives outside of London. He's very educated, multiple degrees. And I just want you guys to understand that the work that we do here, with Quester being an engineer, it's invaluable. The education thought process that he brings to the table. And I'm not going to sacrifice or give away his identity for anything or anyone. It's one of those boundaries that can't be crossed. And I accepted that going into this relationship and this co-host relationship that we have here on the Delphi Vault. So he will be joining us here in a little bit. And I have a lot to talk about today. My goodness. I'm still kind of like gathering my thoughts because I've been running around all morning, getting my errands out of the way. Let me knock some of these housekeeping things out of the way before Quester hops on and we get into some of the housekeeping issues. My surgery is this Friday. I've had a lot of people inbox me asking, like, I appreciate all of you so much. I did go through all of my pre-admission testing last week. I had some blood work done that came back abnormal. Don't know why, so I have to go back in for additional testing. they're making it out like it's no big deal. It has to do with different ranges of low, medium, or low, in range, or high. I'm not sure what the issue is, but I'm going to go have it done. But my surgery is Friday. I have to be there at 5:30 a.m. And I don't know, they have not given me a time span on when I'll be done. All I know is that Mike and my oldest daughter will be there to pick me up, and then I'll be home. And so Thursday is my last day of work until the beginning of October. So you guys will probably be sick of me, because once I have the surgery and I'm able to get up and function, I probably will be on YouTube all the time. There he is. Sick of me, because once the surgery and I'm able to get up and function. Oh my goodness. Hey.
What?
Are you there?
I'm here now, yeah. I was just getting error 404. It wouldn't let me in to start with.
Oh, no, don't say that. We can't have technical difficulties this time.
No. But I'm here now.
Good. So yeah, once I'm up and moving, I will be on YouTube a lot. And I kind of have the format for the Delphi Marathon worked out. Quester and I have kicked around some ideas on timing. And I won't be able to make a decision about it until next weekend, seeing how I feel. I don't know how it's going to go. So we'll see. But either way, before oral arguments, we will be doing the Delphi Marathon. And I hope to have those thumbnails and times set in advance, so you guys will have a way to prepare. Otherwise, so Quester, any house cleaning items that you want to talk about? You want to talk about the voice changer that you use?
Well, if you tell me all about it, I'll talk about it.
Yeah, the voice changer. Don't you use a voice changer?
All right, I admit it. I'm a little old granny from Canada, and I use a voice changer.
There you
happy
go.
Now?
Well, maybe some people might be happy now. I was just saying that, you are from across the pond, and your privacy is very important to you. But hey, Angel, but you're not using a voice changer, and you're not anyone that anybody in the Delphi community has ever encountered before. So.
Nope, I've never been to Delphi. Not using a voice changer. And as you say, privacy is important for various reasons.
Okay, so it is 1:08. We have Veronica joining us around 2 p.m. And there are some, there's some things that I just want to touch base on without stirring the pot any more than it's already been stirred. The description of this video kind of just laid it on the line. The chaos in this community, it just needs to stop. It really does, because when you, I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are in this case, whether you are someone who thinks Rick Allen is innocent or you think Rick Allen is guilty. On either side of that fence, how you conduct yourself literally determines how seriously you're taken. And I'm so tired of hearing people degrade YouTube creators. Oh, well, they're just a YouTuber. Oh, another YouTube creator. There's a lot of great work that goes on behind the scenes with the YouTube creator or a YouTuber, so to speak. But the people that are out there pulling off shenanigans and attacking and trying to cause chaos or make people turn against each other, that gets perceived as incompetency and as a joke. And if that's not what you are intending to do, I'm asking you to stop. But if that's what you're intending to do, I'm going to give you a high five and say kudos, you're doing a good job by making YouTube creators and YouTubers look absolutely uncredible. Is that what you're trying to do? I don't know. And it just needs to stop. Guilters. I invite any one of you, if you think Rick Allen is guilty, I respect your opinion. Absolutely respect your opinion. And you have an open door invitation on Case by Case to have a respectful conversation about our disagreements. And it's not to gain, likes or shares. It's about a real conversation in the public forum where we both disagree and giving our reasoning why we disagree. And that's valuable information. That's valuable education to the community, in helping people decide what side of the fence they want to support. And I've put together today a list of approximately 50 topics that I'm going to run through that need to be addressed, that are questions that I'm throwing out there in the atmosphere for guilters to think about and respond to. And then also I'm going to address Frank Meister, who I know is combating a lot of other YouTubers who are on the opposite side of the fence, that Rick Allen is innocent. Frank Meister believes that Rick Allen is guilty. I can respect that. But upcoming tonight, Frank Meister is doing a live to discuss Reese Davis and calling him a compulsive liar and a lifelong criminal. And apparently is planning to pick apart Reese's character. I have a problem with that. Reese and I have had our differences, as all of you know. Reese has approached me behind the scenes and apologized. I've accepted his apology, and never did I once, in defending my credibility, but I never discredited his. I was worried about his credibility staying intact, but first and foremost, I'm going to break down what Reese has said and when he said it and what supports it. And I reached out not only on Frank Meister's community post. Frank Meister posted a community post yesterday about Reese, and I commented on it and said, hey, I disagree with this. Reese has never asked for anything in regards to a lesser sentence or anything having to do with his case in regards to providing this information, number one. Number two, I would love to speak with you further. However, you're not responding to my text messages. I have Frank's phone number. I have been in communication with Frank years ago, before him and I went different directions, basically. Frank and I spoke, Shane, AKA Frank, we spoke pretty much every day until Rick Allen was arrested. And we both saw the case differently. And that doesn't mean that I hate him. That doesn't mean that I'm going to discredit him. What I'm going to do is I want to confront him. And if he's listening right now, Frank, pop in the chat. Let me know you're listening. I will give you a link to come on so we can discuss the Reese Davis argument that you plan on raising tonight. But the community post that he posted last night that I commented on has since been deleted. And I sent him a text yesterday saying, hey, I would like to discuss this with you. And he responded back to me, wrong number. And I, in return, responded back, no, it's not. It wasn't the wrong number. So, Frank, AKA Shane, you have an open door invitation during this live to come on, speak your truth, have a civil discussion. And if you're confident in your position, and anybody else in this case who thinks that Rick Allen, who believes, I truly believe that these people who believe that Rick Allen is guilty, in their hearts truly believe he's guilty. And I can respect that. But why can't we discuss it? Why can't we share information and share a debatable conversation of why you think he's guilty, and let me put against your theory with why I believe he's innocent. That's something that, nobody, if you are confident in your position, nobody should be cowarding from that kind of a conversation. Quester, anything you want to chime in after I just ran on like a freaking roadrunner with my mouth?
No, I agree. To me, these people who are just always dissing others, pathetic. Why even bother? I'm not interested. If they want to think that I'm Elmer Chicken Fiddler from, I don't know, Idaho, let them think it. I'll even say, yes, I am, if that makes them happy. Same with absolutely everything else. You want to think it? Go ahead and think it. I'm not worried by it. We're looking for the truth. I'm not here to argue with idiots who want to say, oh, you're him. Look at me, I'm clever. I found out who you are. Don't care. And the same applies to the Rick Allen case. I am now convinced that he's innocent. If you think he's guilty, come and tell me why. You never know, you might change my mind. But if you're frightened that I might change yours, well, there you go. Simple as that, isn't it?
And that right there is the nail on the head. And all of this seems to be, it comes across immature in the discussion of the bigger picture. But at the same time, keeping this case alive, there has to be discussions that keep this case in the forefront. And, I have a huge problem with our justice system right now. Our justice system, top to bottom, in every state, starting with the DOJ at the highest level, is corrupted from the inside out. And as a tax-paying citizen who is voting, electing, and putting certain people into place to represent me, when they get there and they don't do anything remotely close to what they promised they would do, I have a problem with that. And that goes for every single county in this country. Law enforcement, sheriff elections, prosecutors. If they're not serving you as a citizen and you're paying their salary, you have a right to speak up. That is what a democracy is all about. And when I see, for example, no pun intended, Frank Meister calling Reese Davis a compulsive liar and a lifelong criminal, I chuckle.
Well, as I said to you before, okay, so he's a lifelong criminal, yeah. That doesn't necessarily mean that he is incapable of telling the truth.
Well, what does a lifelong criminal in detail say to you? Reese's had his ups and downs with the law. However, I can name hundreds of citizens in Carroll County who have had far more run-ins with law enforcement, Derek German, who are still walking the street. I have a question. When you take the information that we have, and let's just throw out there the concept of a deposition done by the lead detective in the case, ISP officer Jerry Holman, giving a deposition years before Rick Allen's trial. And I'm going to show it to you because trust me, I have it loaded. Jerry Holman's deposition, where Jerry Holman himself states, Keegan Kline told me that his dad, Tony Kline, and a friend committed this murder. Whether that's true or not, that's not the question at hand. What is the problem with that statement is you've got the lead detective from ISP providing on the record under oath the same information that later Reese Davis wrote letters to Nick McClellan explaining Keegan Kline told him this information, which matches the information provided by Jerry Holman in his deposition years before Rick Allen's trial. So who's the liar? Nobody. Between the deposee and Reese Davis. They're both telling the same story. Now, on the flip side, we can call Nick McClellan the liar. Why? Because he tried to hide the information. He tried to hide the fact that he was receiving these letters from Reese Davis during the trial. And the question is why? If Reese Davis is a compulsive liar and a lifetime criminal, and there's no credibility to be lent his way, why would the prosecutor on the case go so far as to hide all of this information coming into his office during trial? I mean, he could have easily presented it and said, look at this another fucking inmate, trying to act like, trying to interject themselves in the case. No. Nick McClellan knew there was factual information in these letters from Reese. Why? Because his own lead detective was already told this. And what'd they do about it? Well, they searched the Wabash River. Jerry Holman, Nick McClellan, and others were leaking information to murder shits and fig solves and pushing a narrative about a red Jeep, about a fire pit being searched at Keegan Kline's grandparents' house. This was all a fucking charade. And then the state tried to lay the hammer down on the defense like they were the ones leaking everything. So give me a break. Frank Meister, please, before you go live tonight, I really hope that you do your due diligence and make sure that you cover the whole story. And I know what the first thing you're going to bring up is well, I contacted Reese's girlfriend, the girlfriend who turned in the tip for Reese, and she told me it was for the reward money. Well, first and foremost, I've talked to the same girlfriend, and she claims that's not what she said. Number two, of course, a man in prison and his girlfriend would be interested in the reward money. That doesn't change the fact that the information that they were providing was factual. And I'm just going to forewarn you before you go any further into that storyline that Reese Davis is not the only person that Ron Logan talked to in prison. You're just unfortunately not privy to that information. So all I'm doing is I'm giving you a heads up, and I'm saying, please be careful. And you cannot like Reese for the fact that he called 911 on himself because he had a meth problem, and he was convicted to 50 years because they found a couple of items, not a meth lab. Trust me, I have Reese's case file. They didn't find a meth lab. I have the exhibits from his trial. They didn't find a meth lab. There were different items in the house, quantity 3, that you could add to a list if you were going to create a meth lab. But there was no meth lab. He was arrested, and because they were accusing him of possibly building a meth lab, and because he was less than 1,000 feet, or he was at 1,000 feet of a youth center, is why he got 50 years. Now, compare that to Adam Bridge, Patrick Westfall, Derek German.
Well, there is another side to consider as well. In prison, messing with kids is a big no-no. They will knife them, they will kill them, they will do all sorts of things. They will rat them up, they'll do anything to get kid molesters, killers, and so on. So when an inmate rats up on something like this, you should always give it a consideration. The fact that he's been in jail a long time, well, in a way, I'm not surprised, because your legal system doesn't really give a person a chance to get out of that run, does it?
No, and that's where people need to start recognizing our importance. And how can I explain this to make it make sense? Attorneys are bogged down with cases, and YouTubers, independent investigators, independent journalists, we all have a role to play. So when I say that people who are out here acting a fool are ruining it for our industry, I'm saying exactly that. Because there's legwork that can be done, that's willing to be done by people who aren't on the payroll, who aren't being paid that hourly wage, that doesn't have a client list that they need to meet all the needs of. So in a case like this, if the defense would have accepted some help from those who had followed the case from the beginning, who had done the grunt work, they would have been better off. We can't always expect an Alan Jackson at every trial. We just can't. And when I look at the cases that we have on the docket right now going forward, Monday morning we have the Tupac Shakur opening statements. We are in the midst of the Lindsay Clancy case. We have up and coming this fall the retrial of Alec Murdaugh. And I know that a lot of you in the chat right now are just so hung up on Delphi. Please understand, there's a lot to learn from these other cases. There's Apple Health data, there's geofencing, there's DNA, there's genetic genealogy. There's so much that we can learn that we can apply to this case while this case is drudging its way through the court system. And Fiend, why people are protecting Adam Bridge, I don't know that anybody's protecting Adam Bridge. I don't know how Adam Bridge has walked the streets as long as he has walked. The same with Keegan Klein. And I'm becoming a firm believer that Indiana likes to exploit certain cases because they are lackadaisy on others. So when they do finally make a bust, they exploit it like, oh, look at the good work that we've been doing, despite the fact that we are aware of all of these other child molesters out there that we haven't been investigating. I don't know. And as far as Nick McClelland and Ron Logan being buddies, is there any other explanation? Is there really any other explanation? First move after Nick took office, he lets Ron Logan out of jail. And Ron Logan was predicting it. Now, make that make sense. You've got people in prison with Ron Logan telling us that Ron Logan was touting, when my boy, Nick McClelland, becomes the prosecutor, he said he's going to get me out. Is that bullshit? Is Reese a liar on that? And then that's exactly what happens right after Nick McClelland takes office. Why are you guys willing to throw your head on the gauntlet for liars? That's what I want to know. Quester?
Yeah, it's quite amazing how blind people can insist on being, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it comes down to cognitive dissonance. Once they've made up their mind, or been told to make up their mind, they don't want to see the evidence that will upset what they've thought. It's quite a common thing, but some of these people, they go overboard with it.
They do. So, hold on. While we are passing time, let me see here. Let's talk about Reese Davis. So in 2017, we know that Reese Davis sent letters to Robert Ives. And in those letters, he was making allegations that Ron Logan had made incriminating statements to him while they were incarcerated. And in those letters, Davis had said that that Ron Logan had reported to him that, hold on a second. Okay, so let me back up. So this was in May of 2017. Davis had said he reported information concerning Logan to law enforcement. The exact Davis reports, letters, interviews, and dates, recipients, and wording need to be kept beside the later testimony before making a full comparison. So all of that stuff should have been preserved. That was sent to Robert Ives's office, and it may have been, but if it was, Nick McClelland didn't share it. In August, actually on August 10th, 2023, Holman discusses Keegan Kline and says that one of Kline's first statements implicated his father and another person in Delphi. And the exact quote was, "It was my dad and a friend that lived in Delphi." So Holman then says this was as close as to the investigation that he had gotten to the point in connecting Keegan Kline or his father. The defense asked Holman whether Keegan ever admitted that he knowingly and willingly played some role in the crime. And Holman's answer was, did Keegan Kline ever admit, here's the actual question. Did Keegan Kline ever admit that he actually participated in this crime? That he knowingly, willingly played some role? And Holman's answer is yes. But Reese is a liar. Holman describes Kline's account. Kline initially said he set up a meeting involving his father and a man in Delphi. Holman says Kline later changed the story to himself and his father. Kline claimed that he rode to the bridge in a red Jeep and his father went to meet the girls. Holman says investigators located and searched the Jeep but did not find evidence supporting Kline's account. On page 108 on August 10th, 2023 of Jerry Holman's deposition, there are other confessions. On page 108, Holman is asked whether anyone else confessed to the crimes. He recalls a few instinctualized people and says their accounts did not match protected crime scene details. Okay, so what are the protected crime scene details? Do we know those now? Is it the F tree? Is it the saw cut board or stick left on the girls? Is it the lack of blood? Is it the blood flow on Libby's face? Is it the clothes are wet or they're not wet? Is it the lack of dirt and debris and cuts on Libby's bare feet if we are to believe that she crossed the creek? Is it the white rubber clean Converse shoes that were supposed to have crossed the creek? What are the protected crime scene details? On page 110 and 111, Holman acknowledges there were reports of people allegedly confessing to non-law enforcement people. They were? Who was that? He says there were probably a few, says they were followed up on, but cannot provide the names from memory and says he would have to review the reports. So Holman acknowledges there were reports of people allegedly confessing to non-law enforcement people. Well, I would like to know what Holman did with all of the confessions that came through the Orion tip file and what the follow-up was on there. For example, someone like Sheena Dillon, family member, contacting the Orion tip file and reporting that Sheena Dillon claimed that Mark Palladino paid CJ Palladino to kill the girls, and both men were out there and carried out the deed. and that CJ Palladino was bridge guy. And when they returned home, Mark Palladino returned with only one glove, and the clothes were reported to be put in a burn barrel and burnt. What did they do with what did they do with that information? I can tell you. By the time law enforcement got around to researching and investigating those tips, CJ Palladino and Mark Palladino were both sitting in county jails opposite of each other. Both were interviewed. Neither one had an alibi for February 13th, but they both gave a buccal swab of DNA. Was it tested? Don't know. Oh, Lord. Okay. Quester? Oh, hey guys, I wanted to play this for you real quick. A lot of you were asking me months ago about creating an event for a rally for Rick Allen, and I was just kind of like, I don't know if that's a good idea. That's why I offered the free Rick Allen t-shirts to do like a silent protest all around the country. Unfortunately, the t-shirts are not available in the UK, but we do have volunteers who are willing to let you use their address to send them to and then get them over to you. And then once you get your t-shirt, if you send me a picture of you and your t-shirt, I will post it. But there is apparently going to be a Rick Allen rally on September 21st. And here's the information regarding that. I have nothing to do with it. I'm simply sharing the information. Hold on. Oh, where'd it go? Hold on. I gotta find it. Okay, I got it.
On November 11, 2024, Richard Allen was convicted of the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German in Delphi, Indiana. It's a controversial case, and Rick's appellate hearing is rapidly approaching. Hi, I'm Natalie.
And I'm Stephanie. And together we have created the event Rally for Rights, Rally for Rick. We will be meeting on Monday, September 21st at the Indiana State House from 7:30 to 9 in the morning.
Rally for Rights, Rally for Rick was born after I had listened to podcasts and watched YouTube videos and came away confused. Therefore, I did my due diligence. I've read everything I possibly can under the Freedom of Information Act, the transcripts, exhibits, Frank's memo, which I highly recommend, and I came away with a lot of questions. Therefore, I spoke with law enforcement, legal experts, and members of the community, and I still came away going, what just happened?
So between now and September 21st, we will be releasing videos where we dig in deeper to some of the information she just talked about, such as the Frank's memo and other information that may have or may not have been presented at the initial trial.
We ask that you wear black and white to the rally to show unity. We also ask that this be peaceful. We respect everyone in attendance and everyone's point of view. So whether you're down the street or across the country, please join us at the Rally for Rights, Rally for Rick. Let's show Indiana that we believe and demand in due process. Please subscribe below and share with any of your friends who may be interested in knowing more about the case and who are willing to rally for our rights.
So, oh, I gotta turn off the background music. Are you kidding me? How do all the other channels play background music? Hold on. There we go. It's off. Dead Troll Patrol. Who's that? Oh, God. All right. So while we're waiting for Veronica to join us, unless she's already here. Is the music that distracting just to have a little bit of background music? Does it hurt some of your guys' ears? Questor having me turn off intro music. Critical thinker, I got it. I got your message. It's off. Lord have mercy.
I didn't even hear it.
Well, Noe, you're welcome here as long as you behave. Don't make me pull your hair. Well, yeah, okay, let me just set the record straight about Streets of Bakersfield. Streets of Bakersfield is my doppelganger. She's my complete opposite. She knows where I stand on drama. She knows where I will go and where I won't go. That doesn't mean that anybody who is attacking her is going to convince me to abandon our friendship. Streets and I have been friends for a long time, AKA Freckle Joy, AKA Kristen Barrow. She's my friend. And no, hell no, I don't agree with what she gets involved with. She's somebody who likes to hit confrontation head on. And in my position, I just don't feel like that's the best route that I can take. And I ask her to keep me out of it for the most part. So guys, if you think you're going to draw a wedge there, you're not. especially when I don't know you and you've never reached out on a personal level to communicate with me, and you think that sending me subliminal messages on the airwaves is going to get my attention. It takes more than that, to be honest. And I'm not, it's taken me almost 5 years of doing this work on this case that I've developed some really close friendships. And there are some friendships that will never be questioned or broken. Julie Melvin being one of them, Cherie being another one, Streets of Bakersfield being another, Critical Thinker, aka April, is absolutely another one. Those kinds of friendships I rely on a daily basis outside of the scope of Delphi. So just please be respectful, especially if you're trying to pull on my heartstrings and make me, see the worst in someone. That's going to be very hard for you to do when I know them internally behind the scenes. And I know, Stephanie, you're right. I shouldn't have to explain my friendships, but I'm just making people aware of the fact that sometimes I feel like people are going out of the way to create chaos. And it is creating chaos because some people who don't know the full story or don't know the backstory or aren't involved in what's really going on tend to freak out like, oh my God, this is happening. And I get my inbox blows up, my text messages blow up, my email blows up. And I appreciate all of you bringing these things to my attention. However, I will, first and foremost, always make the best decision based on my own intuition and my own personal knowledge. I'm not going to allow somebody else to tell me who my friends are, because I choose my friends selectively. And they're a very small, I could stand with my arms to my side and spin in a circle, and that's my friend group. And then there's Quester. God love him. There's Quester, my man from across the pond who's married, has a farm, and has all of these accreditations and won't even let me see his damn face. So there's Quester that I will defend till the end because we just have a special relationship and I appreciate everything he brings to the table. Quester.
Well, thank you. It's not actually a farm I have, but it's close. But as you say, friends are important, and it takes a hell of a lot to undermine that. If you're going to come at me with any information against anyone who I consider a friend, you better have pretty strong evidence. Otherwise, you're just removed off that list yourself. Fair enough?
Yeah. And that's not to discourage anybody from trying to bring me information. It's just there's a way to go about it and there's a way not to go about it. And in a situation like this where I'm really, really trying hard to ignore the banter, the chaos, and not get caught up. At the same time, I am trying to stay focused. And there's a lot to stay focused on. And I know that everybody out there listening understands this case is complex and this case is diverse, and we are on the precipice of uncovering a mass amount of corruption. And it's not my job to convince all the naysayers out there that what they feel is inaccurate. That's not my job. What I feel my job is, and I've taken that upon myself, and again, this falls back into the category of those in this community who are doing things to undermine the credibility of others. You can do your work. You can have your opinions, but there's a line that should not be crossed. And that line is, don't cross the line into my personal space and make allegations or accusations or try to expose or create a controversial argument in my regard to benefit your content. And that's what I see happening. And I'm sure this is going to fall on deaf ears. And I know that a lot of you would really like for me to get down and dirty, take off the gloves, take off the knee pads, and start slinging the mud. I'm not going to do that. I will stay above board on this. I'm just sending out a nice professional message that the chaos needs to stop. We are all supposed to be on the same team. Whether we agree where the theory takes us, that's different. That doesn't mean that because you disagree with me or I disagree with you, that you should make it your personal agenda to make me a topic of your community posts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's ridiculous. And for all of those things that have transpired, it takes away the credibility of the work that we do. And I really, I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone says. I know the hours that I put in. Quester, I know the hours that you put in. I know that this takes away from my family. This takes away, Jesus Christ, I have callen off work. I have to say that quietly. I have callen off work. I have used protective time at work when I've gone to work and I have felt like I can't just let this go. I need to do more research on this before this feeling or this thought process escapes me. And I've left work and I come home and I spend hours putting things together, things that you guys, of course, have never seen. But at the end of the day, I'm OCD. I know that Quester is OCD. There are things that are going on behind the scenes that it takes the right type of people to invest in. And unfortunately, I would say that we are the right type of people. And it comes at a cost. It really does. Family time, normal breathing time, holiday time. There, when I look at everybody around me and I go, I can't. I have work to do, and they automatically know. Amy's got work to do on that stupid case she's working on. That's how outsiders see it. This stupid case Amy's working on. Well, it is way more than that to me. And here I am. And I wish I could go live more days a week. And when I'm after my surgery, I will be live more days a week. But I have to bring you valuable content. And today, we have about 2 minutes before Veronica is supposed to jump on. Okay. And she just texted me. She said she needs 6 minutes. She's coming. Okay. So, yeah. And if those of you are new in the chat and weren't here last time Veronica was on, we had some technical difficulties. There was storming going on. So we were having some in again, out again audio. So she's coming back on. This time I'm going to give her a little bit more leeway in telling her version of her friendship with Shelby Hicks. And for those of you, again, who are new, Shelby Hicks is a witness who testified at trial. She was out on the bridge within the what I would consider the vital hour between 2 and 3 when the girls went missing off of the bridge. And the version that Shelby Hicks gave in her initial interviews and in her deposition and at trial do not match what she was saying privately behind the scenes. And that's where Veronica comes in. So please show her some respect. You might not agree with everything that she's saying, but what do we have to lose but except listen to what she claims she was told? Quester, anything? Are you tired of me yet? Am I talking too much?
Oh, months ago I got tired of you talking too much. Too late now.
So I don't know if you know this or not, but yesterday when we did our meeting behind the scenes, instead of doing it as like a backstage recording that wasn't recorded, I accidentally hit it as a live. So people thought that we had and it said Amy and Quester meeting that was on the channel as a live, and people were going, is everything okay? Why aren't you live? I'm like, oh my God, I didn't mean to do that. So that whole time yesterday, people thought we were live, but we weren't. And it looked like we were supposed to be going live, but I thought that was funny. I finally deleted it this morning.
Well, as long as nobody heard what we were saying.
Oh yeah, hell no. No, it wasn't. No, it was backstage. But the link that I created that I sent you for us to meet on popped up on the YouTube channel as if an upcoming stream was coming, and I felt bad. So, but yeah, no, it wasn't live. Don't worry, Quester. I won't tell anybody all of the bad things you said about him. I won't tell them.
That would take a long time.
I won't tell them. Yeah, pay-per-view. Someone's Candy said pay-per-view. Yeah, you know what? Like, this work is is very much a rabbit hole. Yeah. Smoky Mountain Robin, you were one of them. Smoky Mountain Robin was in the chat like, is everything okay? Why aren't you live? I'm sorry. I thought that I had set it up as a recording because I have to set it up as something. I can't just say, let's do a backstage meeting. It has to be categorized as something. And I accidentally clicked live stream, and it showed up as an upcoming live stream, and that wasn't the case. So I apologize that I had your hopes up that you were going to get to listen in on me and Quester's meeting. But no, like, the work behind the scenes is it's a big rabbit hole. Like, we go back and forth with this information, that information. And, you know, I like to be honest, Quester. Mother of Dragons, I love you. Thank you so much. And guys, for all of you going forward, there's a link or links. So you guys know that I'm traveling to Delphi, and I have a lot of people coming in, meeting with me. We're doing a lot of different things. If you would like to contribute to support that, that would be great, seeing as how I'm going to be off work for forever after this surgery. If you want to support it, don't send money to the channel, send money to one of these outlets. That way I can put it over into savings and save it. Because trust me, everything that we're going to be doing down there in Delphi is going to be coming straight to you. From visiting different locations There's going to be interviews. There's going to be all different kinds of fun things going on. And I'm going to bring it all to you, probably not live, except for on Saturday the 19th. Saturday the 19th in September is going to be a big night on the trip that you can look forward to. So, and we'll talk about that later. But thank you, Mother of Dragons. I love you to death, woman. And Veronica on Hush Chaos is here. Hi, Veronica.
Hello. How is everyone?
We're good. I'm so sorry that this didn't get to happen yesterday. We didn't get Wi-Fi, or our power was out on and off, and then we didn't get Wi-Fi until about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, awful weather. Awful, awful. Do you have a lot of the flooding too?
I have what?
Do you have a lot of the flooding?
A lot of the what? I can't hear you.
Oh
Flooding.
my goodness. Flooding.
Oh, flooding. Oh, yes. Oh my God. We've gotten like 5 inches of rain in the past 2 days. Tornado sirens were going off. We had all kinds of different things going on. A couple counties over is that, like, all of the ramps to get there, Buckeye Lake to get out there is all shut down because of flooding. And it's been messy. And I'm just going, is this August really? Because I was hoping to have a couple more pool day weekends. And I don't think that's going to happen. So that sucks.
I forgot, and I had my Bluetooth on. Is this better?
No, I hear you fine. Quester, do you hear her okay?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Oh,
Good.
Okay.
Good.
All righty.
Much better than the last time, and hopefully it stays that way. So, Veronica, I've kind of explained to the chat who you are, your friendship with Shelby Hicks, and because everything was kind of broken up last time, I kind of wanted to give you a little bit of leeway on just briefly, if you could explain to the chat who you are and how you play a role in this case, and how with Shelby Duncan, or I'm sorry, Shelby Hicks. Because there's two Shelbys in this case that were on the trails on the High Bridge at that time. So as brief as possible, just kind of give everybody a rundown in your own words.
Yeah, so I just love Indiana Beach. And so when I fly in to Indiana, I tend to go up there and visit whenever I can. And also, I've been doing that for, I don't even know how many years. So I've met a lot of people with all of my visits, and I have a few friends now that are living in the area. And also, there are two places out there that I don't know. It's so weird. I love to go there and eat. And so because of that, believe it or not, that is how I would bump into people, because I would go to the restaurant and it would conversations would casually happen.
Which restaurant?
One of them is no longer there, and the second one is in Monticello. It's on the border of Delphi and Monticello. It's a Mexican restaurant right next to a pottery. It's a family-owned Mexican restaurant. But it's on the main road to get into Indiana Beach. And it's like, it's just this little old building on a corner lot. But it's on the main road. And it's really good food. So, and I don't even really like food unless it's Mexican food. Then I'm just like, give me the chips and salsa and tacos. Um, that's just how, honestly, that's how this all happened. Like, I never sought out to know anything about anything. Just like, I just happened to be on the phone with my friend when I learned about the girls because I guess one of the customers had said something, and then it just sparked the conversation. And then I was like, oh no, let me know, when they're found, and just completely.
Now, when was this? Was this on the 13th? Was this the encounter that you had on the 13th? Or was
Yes,
this,
I
or
was
was
on
this,
the phone. Yes, just chit chatting with a friend. And then that is how I learned that they were missing. And that was by one of the part-time, I guess. I don't know if you call the part-time locals, like where I'm from, we call them snowbirds. So but yeah, they're a part-time local. And they just happen to be there. They're not normally there that time of year.
so is this where you met Shelby, or was Shelby later?
Yes. Well, no, I met Shelby that year. Um, yes. Later on that year at the restaurant.
Okay. So,
And then another time at a okay, so the neat thing about Monticello, Delphi, Brixton, that like little area, and I could be saying some of the places wrong, but they have some festivals, and some of your locals help reminds me of what the festival name was. And so I've met her at a festival, and then I guess it was a cop, but I don't know like where. I didn't ask at that point. I wasn't asking like questions. That's where I met one of the cops, but he was not a Delphi cop. He was just a normal clothes. I looked
okay.
through the Delphi people. That's not him. But yeah, that's where I met people. That's how I just by chance.
Okay. So let's go back to February 13th. You said you, this is the 13th, which is the Monday. You found out the girls were missing through,
Yes.
through a friend. So
Right.
the next day on the 14th, what time were you contacted, and what time were you shared crime scene photos?
Now that was okay. So it was early morning for me because of the time difference.
So
I
early morning for you at the time versus Indiana time would have been what time in Indiana?
I believe at that time it's a 2 hour difference. I don't think it's a 3 hour difference yet.
So 2 hours earlier or 2 hours later?
So I would be well, you guys are ahead of me.
Okay. So what, give me kind of a play by play of what you found out on the 14th. The girls were found, and then were you told the girls were found and then sent photos, or were you told the girls were found and someone shared images with you?
Yeah.
Uh,
So
how did
I
that go?
was okay. So, and this is where okay. So this might make a lot of people mad. But in the morning time, I was told that they found clothing in the water, and I was like, "What do you mean that they found clothing in the water, but not yesterday?" Because it's a creek. It's not like it's a lake. It's not like it's this large, humongous area, you know. Um,
Can
and
I,
so
can I ask you a really important question?
yeah,
And I know that you are trying to protect your sources. Um, so maybe, so my question is, so from what we know through filings and what we know through testimony, we know supposedly who was out there, who encountered the clothing, and who found the bodies. So you don't have to tell me your source, but can I ripple off a list of names and you say yay or nay?
They weren't out there. It just happened to be, they were not out there. It just, by chance, it was somebody that was around that gave them an update. And I honestly thought that the person that found the girls they were a female, and it isn't a female. I get, Pat Brown. I'm assuming that's why I thought it was a female, because Pat, it's a unisex name. But all these years, I thought it was a female that found them. So, but that's how I got my update. It was just like very quick, and it was later in the evening when I saw an image, like maybe 2 images, because I don't do gruesome or anything like that. And
so you were told early on the 14th that the girls were found. When were you sent images? And you don't have to give me the details of the images. Just give me, I need the time frame.
Okay. So I was never sent them. I was just like, I was shown them. And it was like, oh my goodness. I would say yeah, I would say it was around like maybe 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock Indiana time.
So someone that had images on their phone?
Of the older gentleman that had it? No, I don't know who he is. So, and I've always been honest with that. I don't know who it was. Or I don't know the person that was like showing, because there were some people there, and I don't know if it was like they were passing like a phone around, or if it was like multiple phones. I don't know, but they had the image, or they had images.
And where was this at?
This was at the restaurant.
The Mexican restaurant?
Right. Because the other place that I like to go, it's seasonal.
Okay, so you were at a restaurant and there was somebody there with a phone, passing the phone around with images. You weren't sure who owned the phone. You just know that the photos were on the phone. And then just describe what you saw.
Well, and this is another bad thing, and this is why I say it's just like no harm, nothing bad intended. At that time, I wasn't in a position that I needed to like really fully pay attention to everything. So
was there anything? So, I mean, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, that you didn't realize that, years down the road that you were going to be held to your memory. But there had to be, I mean, you're being shown pictures of 2 little girls at a crime scene. And what stood out to you about the images that you saw? You don't have to go into all of the detail. So let me ask you this. Have you seen the leaked crime scene photos?
I've only seen one image, and it was so filtered, and it just, I mean, it didn't look like what I had witnessed that day.
Okay, so in the leaked crime scene, I agree with that. I agree. The leaked crime scene photos are somewhat whitewashed. They're a little bit discolored. There's not a lot of vibrant coloring there. But in the leaked crime scene photo that you saw, What was in that photo? Was it Abby? Was it Libby? What was it?
It was both girls. Like, I remember they would like zoom in to show me something, and to this day, I remember, like, it was Libby's ankle or thigh or calf, I don't know, but like it looked like she had like a marking on her. I remember in her hand, she had something in her hand, and then
That's more than what's available in the leaked crime scene photos. If there was something that was focusing in on her hand or her thigh, that's more than just a leaked crime scene photo.
oh, I don't know. But I also remember like a piece of cloth hanging. I remember
A piece of cloth?
Yeah. And it
Where
was
was-
green. It was green. And I know that there was a bandana found down the creek. And that's why I wish I would have taken a better look at what the cloth was.
So where was the green cloth hanging?
It was a tree or a branch. I'm sorry, a branch.
Do you know where? Like in reference to both the bodies in the images, was it which tree branch? Was it to the left of? Was it on Abby's side or was it on Libby's side?
I don't remember.
What kind of a cloth? Does it look like a handkerchief to you? Or did it look like a shirt?
I just thought it was a towel. I thought it was a towel, but I just remember the color green.
Okay, well, okay, so moving on. So fast forward past you seeing the crime scene photos. At what point did you encounter Shelby Hicks?
That summer.
The summer of
2017.
Okay, and where was your first encounter with her at?
The restaurant.
The Mexican restaurant?
Yes.
In what capacity? Was she working there? Was she a waitress?
No.
Okay.
No. Just hanging out. And it was like I said, just a casual conversation. One of the young girl's mother, that she too was out there, which I told you about. Her daughter was out there too.
Anna?
Do what? I'm sorry.
One of the young girl's mothers. Oh.
Yes.
Okay. So
I'll have to tell you their name later.
Okay.
Because they were in court. They weren't at the trial.
They weren't at the trial. So was she with Shelby Hicks?
No, separate.
Okay.
It was around lunchtime.
No, what I'm saying is that the mother, so for you to understand, and Veronica and I have talked about this behind the scenes, there is a witness, a trail goer, who was out at the trails on the 13th. And Veronica spoke to her mother, not intentionally. She just, at this encounter, found out that, hi, how are you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Delphi came up for whatever reason. Correct me if I'm wrong, Veronica. And the mom explains, my daughter was out there that day. She's not wanting to give the mother's name or the daughter's name. So at this Mexican restaurant in Monticello, she ran into the mother of a child who was out on the trails that day, and separately Shelby Hicks.
Correct. And I
Okay.
just want to tell you something. I don't know like what it was with our last conversation, but maybe I think our last conversation with you with Quester is that I am now having a lot of guilt that I didn't document things or that I didn't pay better attention. Before, I think I was just frustrated, but now I feel guilty.
Well, I don't want you to feel guilty. I don't want you to feel like I'm running you over the hot coals either.
No,
It's
no, no,
just
no, no.
it's just not every day that we run across somebody who has encountered some of these people who is willing to talk. So I don't expect you to have the fact that you lack certain information is understandable. And also, of course, I'm going to pry. I want to pry. I want to know. And, you know, sometimes my questions are to maybe trigger your memory about something that you were told that you didn't realize was pertinent to the story. So, but I get you wanting to protect the identity of the mom and the child. We'll talk about that later. And I'm fully aware that there are a lot of kids that were out there on the trails that day that have not been spoken about. Some of them I have talked to that were never, you know, Nick McClellan didn't seem to think that, you know, their timeline or their experience on the trails mattered. All he wanted to do was expose a timeline that he thought would convict Rick. So,
Right. But well, I mean, everything that I was told, I don't know if it would even be beneficial necessarily, but I just feel bad that I took it so casual.
And that's okay. And that's okay. What information you do have is helpful now.
Right. Like I was always told that there was like a good 40 plus people out there that day.
And you're not the only one who has said that. You're not the only one who has said that.
So during, you know, like the filings, the pre-trial stuff and the trial, it really, like, I think some people have remembered me saying this and like with all eyes that it just really messes with your head because you're like, that's not how it was that day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not from Delphi, or I'm not even in, like, I wasn't in it. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
when I hear a lie or when I hear something that's inconsistent, it will trigger my memory. Inconsistencies always trigger me. I don't know why. I've been like that for the longest time, but there were definitely more people out there. And
so I have so Karen from the chat is asking if you recall how many people were in the restaurant that was involved in passing the phone around with the photos of the crime scene.
a handful.
A handful.
It wasn't like, yeah, I know it was a small group of people just like talking to each other, and I don't know, like, I know one of the people that not found the girls, but one of the people that was there like the day before to help search, they were there. One of the searchers were there and that I specifically remember because I was like, how did nobody find clothing in the creek?
Right.
That was one of my first questions. That just it didn't make sense to me. How did you miss that?
Okay, so I'm going to try to categorize the conversation going forward into.
Yeah, because I'm so scattered because of how things have happened over the years. So to keep me in line, you lead.
Okay, so I want you in your brain for a moment. I want you to think. So in 2017, you met Shelby Hicks. I don't know why I keep saying Duncan. Shelby Hicks at the Mexican restaurant in Monticello. So between 2017 at the restaurant until now, how many encounters with Shelby Hicks do you think that you've had? Just give me a
3.
number. 3 encounters. Okay. So the first encounter, you learned what?
Just that she and her, well, at that time, it was just that she was out there with some girlfriends. It was, I want to say the one that I had the third time downtown, Indy, she was more detailed with that one.
Now,
But
just
like
stick with
the
stick
very
with the stick with
basic,
the, stick with the first encounter. Stick with the first encounter and
yes, just
what
very basic. She just said that she was out there with some of her girlfriends.
what struck up that direction of the conversation for her to feel the need to bring up, oh, I was out there on the trails when the Delphi murders happened. What brought that up?
See, that's so awkward because at that time, everyone talked about it. It was like, it would just like kind of like from eavesdropping, or if you're just like standing there and somehow like discussions, you would like join in and discuss it. It was one of those things. It wasn't like she
So, I mean,
like,
did you sit down next to her in the restaurant, or were you standing near her table and you were
we were standing
overhearing her?
around at the entrance.
Okay, and she's is she talking to you, or is she talking to a group of people who are willing to listen?
It was a group of people.
Okay. And she just said that she was out there with a group of girlfriends. Anything else in that first encounter?
It was the same thing. It was, okay. So on the first encounter, it was just that she was out there with her group of friends, and she said specifically there were some college people out there that she knew and some other people, and then she had a phone call, so she left. And then I think that was the first thing that she told me. The second thing, she was like, yeah, I was out there. Okay, I'm trying to picture it because I
So,
haven't
I
really thought of that
want you
first encounter.
I want you to put yourself back at that entrance
That's
where
what I'm
she's
doing.
where she's talking to a group of people. Does she ever bring up the name Daniel Pearson?
No,
Does she describe, what she had done that day? Was she taking her car in to get it serviced in Lafayette? Did she?
it wasn't like that. It was just that I was
I,
out there. I went with my girlfriends, and I specifically was, nope, that wasn't me. That was the second time. No, she said that because she was there when the girls arrived, and that nothing, like she didn't see or hear anything.
she said she was there when the girls arrived.
Yes. She goes, I guess I was there when the girls were there.
I guess I was there. Let me write that down. I guess I was there when the girls were there. Do you know what time that was? Did she ever say anything about a time?
No, it was just such a generic conversation.
Okay. So we're going to move on to your second encounter, but before we do, Quester, do you have any questions for Veronica about this encounter?
Not that I can think of at the moment. Veronica's been pretty clear. So thank you for that, Veronica. I'll probably think of something long after we've all gone.
Okay, so
yeah,
the
I'm sorry. I see in the chat it's like pulling teeth. I'm so sorry. I don't like.
Listen, you don't owe any. Listen, the fact that you are willing to even come on and talk, I'm so grateful. And don't just speak freely and don't worry about what people's
Oh,
opinions of you in the chat are. I just want you.
I'm not
I know.
offended.
Okay, good.
I
I
just
don't want
feel
you to
bad
be.
because I'm trying to think it in the terms of how you want it laid out. But, and like I said, it was so long ago. So I apologize to the group that honestly, I apologize. I don't,
Yeah, don't.
You've
Yeah,
got
you're
nothing to
fine.
I've been
apologise for.
uncomfortable since like before. I would always like freely talk about it. Always like, no, that's not right. That's not right. I was pretty vocal. But I'm telling you, after our last conversation, I actually feel like a sense of guilt. And it
Well,
makes me
I mean,
uncomfortable because
I
I
think,
didn't pay
and
attention.
I'm sure a lot of people who visited the trails that day who didn't see anything or didn't pay attention to things feel that way. Don't feel guilty. What you're providing us right now is very helpful, and I want you to move on to your second encounter with Shelby Hicks, which was where?
The festival. And this is also where I saw the cop. So if I get something mixed up, then I'm really confused, or then I apologize. But I was standing in line just to get a Coke. And I think it was Skinny. Yep, I think it was Skinny. He has mentioned the festival. It wasn't a bacon one, but it was another festival. Um, and I was in line to get a Coke, and that's when there was a police officer and Shelby that were there. The other people were not there that day. Okay, I've got it now.
Yeah, Skinny. She said that you were talking. Skinny said, "I heard my name."
Oh, I heard my name.
Yeah, Skinny. She was. Apparently you brought up some festivals, and she was at one of the festivals that you brought up.
Yeah, he had named them before. So I would actually be shocked. Maybe it
Apple
was
Pop. He said Apple Popcorn Festival.
possibly it's possibly that one. Skinny, is that the one that's in, I think is it Brookston or the town right next to Brookston? Strawberry Festival. Oh, that could be it too.
Well,
Oh.
I think the Strawberry Festival is actually in Delphi, isn't it?
Apple is in, Apple Popcorn Brookston. Okay. Okay, so maybe it is Brookston.
Okay.
'Cause
Yeah,
it's,
I think the Strawberry Festival is in Delphi.
okay, so Skinny, is that the one where there's like a gas station on the left? It's a small town. And then there's like a hardware store that you could park into. Oh, not Crawfordsville. I think I know
Yeah.
where Crawfordsville is at, but no, not that one.
Crawfordsville is way outside. Like I go through Crawfordsville coming from Ohio. Okay, we'll move on.
Okay, sorry. But it was
Well,
one of
yeah,
those, and it was
Skinny, it's one of those festivals, Skin, that you had named, and she thinks that you're onto something. But this second encounter that she had with Shelby Hicks is where at a festival that she encountered Shelby Hicks, and you said Shelby Hicks was there with an officer?
yes, I didn't eat there, Fiend. I remember just a drink. And there was like blow up glass art, stuff like that. Yeah, it was he said he was a police officer. I remember he was wearing he was kind of good looking. He is not any of the Delphi police officers I've seen. So
But he wasn't dressed in law enforcement gear.
no, just casual.
Okay, so you've seen her. Okay, now so I have to ask you the hard question.
Do it.
So you're Your first encounter with her was at the restaurant in Monticello, and you were standing in a group of people, and she's telling a story. And then you see her again at this festival. How is she putting you with someone that she knew?
Wait, what?
Okay. So your first encounter with her was at the Mexican restaurant in Monticello. And you described that by the entrance, she was talking to a group of people and you were just kind of standing there and you were taking in everything that she was saying. So now you're seeing her at this festival. How does she recognize you as someone that she knows?
Again, it was just a casual conversation waiting in line. In fact, I forget, there was like a whole bunch of food trucks and there was music. It was food trucks, tables, music. Oh, wait. Hold on. I'm picturing it. Food truck, tables. There was like this centerpiece. I think it was right next to railroad tracks. And then there was a stage with a dance floor.
So when you seen her,
And
or
we were
she seen you, how did the two of you engage?
it was just, again, just like a conversation that was like taking place with people. And that's when it was like, if you can get 20, we only meant something. It was a good crowd of people. Again, just a
Hold on. Your sound just went kind of wacky. Hold on. I might have to remove you and bring you back in. Hold on. Now talk.
testing.
We've lost you as far as you sound like it's. Are you using earbuds?
No.
Okay, keep going.
Now. Can you hear me?
Yes, that's better. Yes, that's much better.
Okay. No, it's just a casual. I went up to get a drink, and I had my puppies with me. They were in a stroller. Sorry, guys. And no people talking. I was just kind of standing around listening, and then of course I joined in, and then that's when during the conversation I looked at Shel and I was like, "You look familiar." We both did that. You look familiar, and then we realized. But at that time, that's when she said that she was out there, that she didn't see anything or hear anything.
But okay, but what were did she go into detail when she said, did she elaborate any more? I was out there with friends or anything like that?
Just that at that time, she had said that she was out there with her girlfriends, and then, oh my gosh, I think at this point the harassment started for her. And
what was the harassment?
Because of the vehicles, and so it was because of the vehicles. That's when she mentioned a lot of like people on Facebook were giving her a difficult time, and the people in town. And that's when I remembered that she was in Monticello, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're so lucky. I would have loved to have went to like school there." Da 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 da. And people always just look at me like I'm stupid when I make those comments, but I don't know. You got a pretty lake, and I don't know.
No, listen. I fully grasp that sentiment. I mean, I know that everybody in the chat might disagree with me. People who live there are going to disagree with me because that's something that, they lived with. But from an outsider looking in, an outsider traveling in, and I have to put myself in different categories, like doing research, I have to learn to separate, like I'm doing daily. I have to separate, what's reality and what people know versus the truth. And I have said 1,000 times, driving into Delphi, driving in through Indiana, like I live in Ohio, and a lot of people compare Ohio to Indiana, and people think that Ohio is a cow town, and I'm going, what? I live in Columbus, Ohio. We are a major, huge metropolitan city with the short north, with Ohio State Stadium. Then you've got the Cincinnati Bengals, you have the Cleveland Browns, you've got the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Crew Stalker Stadium. We are not a cow town. There's nothing beautiful about Ohio, but I've lived here my entire life. When I go into Indiana and I drive the back roads and I look at the landscape and then I pull into Delphi, I'm like, oh my God, this is a beautiful little town. It's a beautiful little community, and it fucking sucks that I know the underground part of it. So I get what you're saying, being somebody from the outskirts coming in and you see this and you want to participate in, like Indiana Beach, a beautiful place. I get that. So don't make apologies for that. I get that.
The houses on the lake are just so cute. Just everything about Monticello is just so cute. I love Monticello.
It is. I mean, and then when you go, okay, let me go to this location, and then you drive into the quarry and you find what you're looking for. You're like, oh shit, let me just back up out of here really quick.
Exactly.
Yeah. For the most part, absolutely. It's a beautiful place. Monticello, Delphi, Brookston. Last year, me and Cherie drove through downtown Monticello multiple times, and I didn't even know it existed. And I mean, you're talking like you could park your car at one end of the block and just get out and shop hop the whole entire day. It's just a cute little place. So
it is. I love it. And Indiana Beach just became like my little happy go-to place. And I'm a water baby. I love the ocean. I love lakes. So what I was thinking about doing was like keeping one property at that time, like when I was talking to Shelby and the police officer and some others around, I was telling them where my my summer house is at. And I was thinking of selling one of my properties so that way I could get something in Indiana. And that was the discussion that we even had in line. They were like, what, why? But anyway, so, but no, her story again was just very basic. She said that there was, a lot of people out there that day, and she went there with her girlfriends. And they were just walking around. And she said, because there were so many people out there that day that she kept bumping into people that she knew. And then some that she hadn't seen for a while or something like that. And that again, she didn't see or hear anything. But she never mentioned a guy.
So your third encounter.
Yep, I had a female look like she got my attention because she was like, do you ever pretend to go to a bar and just pretend that you're not from the area? And I was like, oh, well, I don't have to pretend. That's me. And then that's how our discussion started. So then she knew where I was from. And then I asked her where she was from. And then she said Monticello, and I about had a heart attack. And like fangirl.
You didn't recognize her?
I didn't recognize her. Listen, I see so many people daily in my life, especially on weekends. No, it took me a minute. It did take me a minute, but eventually, yes, she's a gorgeous girl.
Oh no, I've seen pictures of her. Shelby Hicks is a very pretty strawberry blonde, reddish hair. She's a pretty girl.
It doesn't look like, I don't want to say this in an offensive way, but she's very pretty, well kept, clean. She does not look like a person that would do anything wrong.
I get where you're going with that. I do.
Okay. Yeah,
And-
she is just so pretty.
Okay, so at this third encounter, did her story change at all from what you had heard her say prior to the first two encounters?
That's when we talked about with, because it was right after Rick's arrest, and she said that she too was shocked at that time. She also didn't feel like they had the right person or there's something going on, because like he just was not on anyone's radar.
And did she ever make any comment in regards to he wasn't anyone that I ever saw out there on the trails?
She told me that she does not remember seeing him.
Okay.
But when Rick says he left, that was like more of her arrival, to my understanding.
Well, that's the problem that we are trying to dig into, because what we've had to do is we've had to take Shelby Hicks, Daniel Pearson, Cheyenne Ingalls, Shelby Duncan, and set them aside as far as believing their timeline, because they have changed their timelines numerous times.
Right.
What we've then had to do is plug in those people that we are confident when they arrived. And we're confident because they have validation, they have receipts, there's supplemental reports, there's, and it's all a game of toss up. But you've got and there's some things that there's no sense in even playing pussyfoot around any of it. You've got Cheyenne telling law enforcement, not only in 2017 but also in 2023, that she had records of a phone call at 2:50 p.m. before she got to the Monon High Bridge. And according to Shelby Hicks and Daniel Pearson, they were already at High Bridge when Cheyenne Ingalls and Shelby Duncan arrived. So 2:50 is the end game for, we know everybody was already there by 2:50. Now back that up. We know that the Bridge Guy video started at 2:13. And then we have to start piecemealing together the testimony, the depositions, the statements from all of these people, what they did prior to 2:50, who they saw. And when we take that and we backtrack, okay, well, if they saw this person with a black dog, and we know the person with the black dog arrived at this time, then we need to adjust their timeline. And I'm not saying that Shelby Hicks is a murderer, but I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that Shelby Hicks may have a feeling that someone that she was with that day, who was there earlier than she was involved in something, and she doesn't know for sure. And all she's doing is relaying the story that she was told to relay to keep her out of the hot seat. And that might be far-fetched, but It is not. It is not Rick Allen on the first platform at 2:00. It is not. And I believe that Daniel Pearson did not arrive with Shelby Hicks. I believe that Daniel Pearson was out there earlier, and Shelby Hicks arrived later, possibly with friends. I don't know why she would feel the need to give you a bolstered story that I was out there with friends. Then I ran into Daniel Pearson, because you know, and I know that at trial, her story changed. Whatever she told you over the last 7 years until we got to trial, when she got to trial on the stand, what she told you had completely changed. And there was no group of friends. It was just her and Daniel. And you have to, and you're not responsible for her. You're not responsible for defending her or making excuses for her.
No.
Or the story that she told. I'm just showing you that she's lying. And the question surrounding her is, why is she lying? Why is she lying to you, the public, the circles of people surrounding her in these restaurants as she's telling the story? Why is all of that different than what she testified to at trial? That's an issue. Do you agree?
No, I agree. And that's where I've been voicing my opinion, is just that the time doesn't make sense. And then even like what she drove, there's the only reason why I remember key things is because I actually felt sorry for her. And like at the festival, once I learned that she was getting a difficult time by people, like harassment, like they're always like hounding her for information. I always felt bad for her. I always felt bad for her.
Well,
But
so
at this time, because Rick was arrested, that is what prompted, I guess, a more detailed, and it was like not just like a quick walk up moment. This conversation's happening, somehow you get involved, and then, it's your turn to place an order for a drink, and then, or someone's not waiting on their food from the food vendor. So we were just sitting at the bar, or I was standing, she was sitting with this guy. I don't know who the guy is. I didn't ask.
let me ask you that. Let me ask you this. If, okay, say a random person, like a private investigator, okay, and I'm not saying this would ever happen. I'm asking you a legitimate question. If a private investigator or someone from the defense team was to approach Shelby Hicks with your photo and ask her, do you know this person? What do you think her response would be?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Do you think that she would acknowledge knowing you?
Probably.
Okay. Would you be willing to stand in front of her and say, remember me? We had these conversations.
Oh, absolutely. I'm bold like that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And in fact, I almost, after the trial, I almost text her, but I didn't because I was so mad, and I should have, but I haven't had contact with her since.
Okay. So before we get into the next phase of the story, Quester, my lovely, do you have any questions for Veronica? Any angle I haven't covered? You've been very quiet. You've been very quiet today.
Sorry,
I've been
Quester.
listening. I've been listening. No questions.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to tell you what I know.
Okay.
I'm going to let you digest it, and then I want you to tell me what your version from what Shelby told you was. So we have correspondence from Shelby Hicks's grandfather. And then we have the depositions, and then we have the trial testimony. So we know, and then we have the social media post, and trying to collaborate all of that into one, it becomes a timeline fiasco, and it just takes a very keen eye to break it all down and put it in order. But it does matter. I know a lot of people are probably like, Jesus Christ, Amy, get away from the whole timeline of Cheyenne and Shelby and all of that shit. I just can't, because it's still an open door into what has transpired in this case. So we know from Shelby Hicks's grandfather that Shelby's car had been recently purchased, and she was taking her car on February 13th to Lafayette to be serviced or fixed, or I'm assuming based on the way it was described that when she bought the car, this was something that was arranged as part of the purchase of the car. That's the way that I take it. I could be wrong. So Shelby takes her car to Lafayette. Based on Daniel Pearson's deposition, he claims he followed Shelby to Lafayette while she dropped off her car. The two of them then went to a mall and had lunch, waited for the car to be picked up, to be ready. They picked up the car, and then the two of them drove back to Delphi together. Now, at the time, it's my understanding that they were both working in a pub in downtown Delphi, and they had been working as employees of this pub for quite some time before they became an item. And Daniel was engaged to a girl named Skylar. So Shelby Hicks and Daniel's relationships was pretty much supposed to be on the down low. It's my understanding. Daniel Pearson describes he parked his car at the police station, the Delphi County Jail on East Main Street in Delphi. And then the two of them took Shelby's car out to the trails. This is where the story, well, the fact that he claimed he parked his car at the jail is laughable to me. It makes no sense. However, that's on the record. They go out to the trails. This is where the story differentiates. Shelby, I don't want to say differentiates. I'm going to say in the depositions, which was years before the trial, memories are more fresh. They claim they parked at Mears, entered the trail, turned right, and went towards Freedom Bridge. Then turned around and came back. However, in Shelby Hicks's deposition, she says they walked to Freedom Bridge and went into the woods. Where that takes them out there by Freedom Bridge, I don't know. Flashback to Shelby Hicks's grandfather's text messages. He claims, and guys, I have all of these. I've shown all of these in previous Vault episodes. I'm not going to go through bringing them up here, or we'll be here for hours. You can take my word for it, or you can go back and listen and go back and watch. Shelby Hicks's grandfather says that prior to going to the bridge, Shelby Duncan went to a reservation park before. Okay. So when I read that, I'm going, okay, does that mean They entered the trails and they went to Freedom Bridge and they turned around and they went down the Mary Gerard Reservation Trail. That's possible. They went down to the water before going to the Monon High Bridge. Okay. There's no elaboration on that. My problem with that statement is when you go back to Cheyenne's social media posts and comparing it to Cheyenne's trial testimony, Cheyenne says that her and Shelby Duncan went to France Park first and then decided to go to the trails. Okay. Shelby Duncan and Cheyenne both claim to have arrived at the trails, Mirrors, in a purple vehicle, which is Cheyenne's purple 300. Okay. But in one of Cheyenne's social media posts, before she testified, this was years ago, she states, I arrived around such and such time, and my friend arrived right before me. Well, if you and Shelby Duncan are arriving together in your purple 300, who is the friend who arrived before you? No one's asking those questions. Then you've got Daniel Pearson and Shelby Hicks on the first platform when Shelby Duncan and Cheyenne approached the Monon High Bridge. In the process of approaching the Monon High Bridge, you have David McCain leaving the High Bridge. David McCain claimed that he was on the bridge for approximately 30 minutes. Well, let's do some backup investigation on these timelines. If Cheyenne gets out of her car at Mears and begins to start towards the Monon High Bridge, and she receives a robocall that she claimed she showed law enforcement on her phone, and she testified to receiving at trial, that's 2:50. She's halfway to the trails, you can presume. And Daniel Pearson and Shelby Hicks are already on the first platform. And Shelby Hicks and Daniel Pearson both claim on their way to the Monon High Bridge that they passed a man with a camera. And in fact, the man with the camera took a photo of them. And that man testified to being on the bridge for about 30 minutes. That puts Daniel McCain on the bridge at least 2:20. The bridge guy video started at 2:13. Now, if any of these timelines are wrong or off by 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we have got serious problems. And if Shelby Hicks is claiming that she's out there with friends, not Daniel Pearson, and we have a family member of Daniel Pearson calling the FBI tip line and tipping him in, saying Daniel Pearson was on the bridge at 2 p.m., we can't ignore these people. And then you've got Shelby Hicks at trial testifying that her and Daniel left the trails, drove through Camden, drove through Amish country, and then he dropped her off at her car. Whoops. How could he be driving his car if they left the trails at the Mears lot on 300 North in Shelby's car, and his car was parked at the police station? Nobody's asking these questions. So, Veronica, based on that information, tell us what you were told from Shelby about the vehicles, and understand why I'm going to argue it doesn't seem plausible that Shelby was driving her dad's truck. But
Right.
tell me what she told you.
Okay, so she had dropped off her vehicle with her dad, and then she had went home. She got a phone call, and that's when she was going to meet her friends for lunch. And so she had her dad's truck, and she met her girlfriends. Waiting for her car, they went to the trails. And for my memory, is that they drove two vehicles. Shelby drove her truck, and then the girls drove another vehicle. What they drove, I don't know. I didn't ask. Sorry. And I didn't ask for the girls' names. I'm a jerk. And that they were out there at the bridge. The first people that they ran into was a group from Lafayette that went to college in Purdue. Bless you, baby. Bless you.
You said a group that went to where?
They were college guys from Purdue. She said that there were just so many people out there, and you have to understand me. It's always sounded crazy to me that, like, on a February, like, with that corny saying, unseasonably warm, that, like, people's first choice would be to go hiking or on a trail. I don't know. It's just I don't know. Like, that's just not, like, in my brain to do. So, it's just an odd choice for me. But anyways,
Did she give you a number? Did she say, because we have no record of, Smoky Mountain Robin says, Veronica, you are not a jerk. You are not psychic. You couldn't have known what mattered in the future. No, that's exactly right. Thank you for saying that. No, Veronica, you're not a jerk. The fact that the fact that you're speaking out, and it's so appreciated. But did she give you, when she's talking about a group, because there's no record. I mean, we have rumors and speculation about a group from Kokomo being out there, but not a group. And they, trust me, they weren't college guys. They were all nefarious meth dealers, et cetera, et cetera. We don't have any reports about people from Peru University.
Yeah, they were from, I know, like, specifically, like, that's what she told me. And she said that when she was there, just like before, that she was running into a lot of people that she knew, and that she ran into the guy that she was casually seeing, more like a friend. And then that's when she told me of the harassment that she and her family received. And it was because of her dad's truck, and it was white with paper plates. And she said that she had sat on the platform, or yep, her and her girlfriends had walked around. They kept like, seeing people that they knew. And then they went over on to the train track, the bridge, and they were walking around there. And then she and Daniel were sitting somewhere on the bridge, and that's when some more people that she knew were walking by. But she said that there were people all along the trail tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And what else did she tell me? Um
Did she ever identify to you the casual guy that she was seeing as being a Daniel?
no, I never got his name, and because I wasn't, well,
Aware.
that time she did mention him. But again, because I was so like still
Did
casual
she
about it,
did she mention his name, or just the fact that she was seeing a casual guy?
a casual guy.
Okay.
And then she said that when they were walking around, they got up and they were walking around. That's when she got a call from her dad that her car was ready. And so that's when she had to leave. And
Okay.
I thought that was before 3 o'clock.
Why do you think it was before 3 o'clock?
Because I keep thinking it was like 2:30 of what she told me. I just wish that and now because of the trial, like the transcripts and things, like all the discussions, all the times now are getting wonky in my head. But I always felt like she was gone before 3:30.
Okay. Well, there are, so that's where this whole conundrum gets murky, is because there are reports that there was a white Impala parked on 300 North with white paper plates. And I'm not saying that people aren't confusing that car with another vehicle, but
Two
that
Dodges. There was two
no,
Dodges. One was a coupe and one was a sedan.
parked where?
The exact location, I don't know.
See,
Like,
and they all had paper plates.
yep, that was like the weird thing that day. It just seemed like there was a handful of vehicles with paper plates. That's always stuck out to me as very odd. Like, wow, people chose.
And it may very well not be true. It may just be rumor mill that, one car could turn into, 5 or 6 different people saw the same car and described it differently. So that's where the discrepancy could come in. I don't know. And I'm not saying that it's not true. What I'm saying is that the before Shelby went on the record saying anything, there are reports of a white Chevy Impala with paper plates being seen on 300 North. And we may never be able to prove these facts as when they arrived, what they were driving, who they were with. We may never be able to prove that. That's why all of this deep diving is important, because we can at least try to eliminate some things or prove things that are still up there in the air floating around. But I think going forward, Go
I
ahead.
do know she left the trails because her dad called her, and that's where, like, I don't know how to do the geofence. I'm not great. I wish I had that brain. Um, like, was her phone there at that time? Like, does her phone company show a call at this time? Because
Well, the geo, well, ultimately, when we get down to the nit and grit, and if we ever do get our hands on the full entire 2019 geofence, which is a Google geofence, the one in 2017 was AT&T based. That was to search for the girls because Libby's phone was connected to AT&T. But the Google geofence is going to give us multiple carriers. See, AT&T Google Fence is only going to give us AT&T phones. We need a search, and the Google search is probably the best one that's going to give us all different kinds of carriers. Hey, Four Pits. And yeah, the Google Fence can show us who's coming and going and when. And the problem that I have with the stories are, again, I'm going to revert back to the day that my sister died. My sister was killed in a car accident in 2007. And I know that people deal with trauma differently. For me, it being my sister, it was hella trauma. It was a day of, all I can say is that I can tell you moment by moment what transpired that day. I can relive it. I can visualize it. I can feel it. I can see it. I remember word for word what was said, the phone calls that I got, the notification, me driving out to my sister's house, all of it. I remember it. And anybody who was on the trails that day, who felt they had something to provide, I just feel like the details shouldn't be so murky.
I agree.
And the story should never change. Now, let me circle back around to Rick Allen. Rick Allen went forward pretty much immediately, obviously at the persuasion of his wife, and I would have to do the same thing with, if my Mike had gone over to Blacklick Woods and went for a walk, which he does often, and something like this happened, and he would, I was like, babe, law enforcement wants anybody who was out there around this time to come forward. You need to go. He'd be like, oh man, I don't want to deal with that shit. I can hear him saying that. Doesn't make him guilty, but I can see Rick being like, oh my God. But Kathy persuaded him, you need to contact law enforcement. He does. He's an open book. Here's my phone. Take the battery out, go through my phone. This is where I was. This is where I live. This is what I'm driving. Nothing. He gets no response, no follow-up, no questioning after the fact. Years and years and years and years go by, and he's being held accountable for the information that he didn't retain. Yet
Right.
all of these people that we know are out on the trails are not being held accountable for being there, the information that they've lied about. We haven't caught Rick in one lie. Not one lie. And we're just talking about Cheyenne, Shelby, Daniel, David McCain. We're not even talking about Patrick Westfall, Brad Holder, Ron Logan, Elvis Fields. We're not even talking about any of them. We're talking about the people who were on the bridge within an hour of these two little girls being swept away. And no one's talking about them. Law enforcement didn't pursue them and exhaust their alibis, that's what I'm here for. And I appreciate you, Veronica.
Well, thank you. If I remember correctly with my memory, vaguely in 2017, I want to say it was within like a week or two that the police had said that they are aware of everyone that was out at the trials that day and they've been cleared. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that either. That's a local, but
That's been tossed around. It's been tossed around that every vehicle seen on the Hoosier Harvestor camera has been identified, who the owners were and cleared. Yet here we are with a major lack of transparency in this case. And you've got Nick McClelland, Jerry Holman, and the rest of the Brady bunch on that end, ducking and dodging, handing over information. I mean, I can go over from start to finish. Let me just start here. The Brad Weber van timeline. The state wanted the jury to believe, and the judge allowed it, that the van passed through the private drive before 2:32, and that's when Rick ushered the girls across the creek and murdered them. Then after the trial, we find out that the video, the van was actually captured on a security camera video at 2:44, and Brad Weber's phone connected to his house at 2:50. So that was a lie. The state knew it, and they put on false evidence. Brad Weber's interview was recorded over permanently and lost. That's a problem. The Westville interview was never recorded. Evidence that was offered to verify Brad Holder's alibi, like the video camera from his employer, that was not obtained. They didn't seem to feel the need to look at that. They never verified the actual clock out of the time card swipe. It was, if you guys remember correctly, Gilter's prove me wrong, but on February 13th, Brad Holder's clock in and clock out time was not his normal work schedule. Don't forget that Brad Holder also, during that day, while at work, clocked in on Facebook at a workout facility at 1:47 in the afternoon. Betsy Blair's vehicle description was kept off the state's case. They put Betsy Blair on the stand, had her testify to what she saw on the bridge, the man that she saw on the bridge. And like everyone else as a witness that day, none of them described Bridge Guy. But when shown the picture of Bridge Guy, they said, yes, that's the guy I saw. That's ironic, don't you think? When you've got witnesses saying he was dressed in all black, he was wearing a light colored shirt, he had a hood up, his face half covered, he was wearing all black. I'm 5'6", and I only came up to his shoulders. He was very tall, very masculine built, a very big guy. None of those descriptions ever matched Rick Allen. But when they were shown the picture of Bridge Guy, they said, oh yeah, that's the guy I saw. That's a problem. Again, Betsy Blair's vehicle description. The state did not allow her to testify fully to what she saw, not only after seeing Bridge Guy on the first platform, but what she saw when she was leaving the trails, which was not a black Ford Focus at the CPS building. She saw a white sharp-edged vehicle that reminded her of her dad's 65 Comet. It was an older vehicle. So the state didn't want that to come in. So they stopped questioning her on that point. And because the state hadn't opened the door, it wasn't within the scope of the defense to question her. So instead of the judge being a reasonable judge and a balanced and fair judicial judge, she didn't say, we're going to go ahead and allow the defense to question this witness while she's here under subpoena. No, we're going to excuse her, and I'm going to expect you to call her back during the defense's case in chief, and you can then elicit that information at that point in time. Sarah Carball. How many times did Sarah Carball say bloody versus muddy? Sarah Carball claimed that she knew that Abby and Libby were missing because she got an Amber Alert. Did she? No. Because Abby and Libby did not meet the requirements for an Amber Alert, because Sheriff Tobe Lesenby did not feel that they were high-risk missing teenagers. He thought they were teenagers out running amok. That's why he canceled the dogs on the 13th. And he canceled the dogs on the morning of the 14th. But he used that as an excuse to keep searchers away from the area. The blue Carhartt issue. The appellate materials argue that Allen did not actually tell investigators that he wore a blue Carhartt on February 13th. No. Richard Allen gave a broad range of items that he could have been wearing on the 13th. The defense also relies on Kathy Allen's testimony concerning when the blue Carhartt admitted into evidence was purchased, arguing that her testimony would place the purchase after the murders. If correct, that creates a distinction between a general description of clothing and the specific jacket later presented at physical evidence. Well, Kathy Allen does have a receipt showing the purchase of the Carhartt jacket, which was in 2021. Fact. Rick Allen never claimed that he was wearing a blue Carhartt jacket. He gave a variety of items that he could have been wearing on that unseasonably worn day. But what we can visually see and prove is that the blue Carhartt jacket located in Rick Allen's house and was entered as an exhibit has the Carhartt label emblem dead smack on the left portion of the jacket next to the zipper, which is not on the blue jacket that Bridge Guy is wearing. It's not the same jacket. Period, point blank, conversation over. I can go on and on about the cartridge. I can go on and on about the ballistics. I can go on and on about everything. The fact of the matter is that those of you who think that Rick Allen is guilty, you are basically laying down and rolling over and allowing the justice system to continuously railroad everyone in this country and their civil rights. There is nothing wrong with questioning the evidence, especially when all of it has been kept hidden, lied about, and exposed. Nick McClellan has been exposed to be a liar, and he has been exposed to withhold exculpatory evidence. He has been exposed to put people on the stand to tell half-truths, and he's been exposed in pretending he's not aware of evidence that points in a multitude of different directions, period. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. Quester.
No, I get it. And that's another thing, is that never made sense to me. But I will back up real quick. There are some locals that, like, they say like everything was kept quiet, nobody knew anything. And then some other locals are like, oh gosh, there were no secrets. And I think I felt lucky onto the part of people that talked, that didn't have secrets. So And that was like, that's also how I knew about the church out in the woods.
Oh,
You
and
know,
that
I know.
radar. You know what church she's talking about.
What? Radar?
AKA Radar's in chat.
She's my love bug.
Yeah, she knows what church we're talking about and the cabin in the woods that we're talking about. She knows about all of that.
Stop it.
She
Because for
does.
years, like with All Eyes and with everybody, like I have said, nobody knew what I was talking about. Even with that one jerk face, Greeno, like I was even asking him. I was like, what, what was the church in the middle of the woods? Like it was north. It wouldn't be going south.
Here, you know what? Let me just be facetious and I'll show you. There is a church that is kind of hanky, and it's not necessarily in the woods, but it's been referred to as being in the woods. And there might be there might be a location where they practice in the woods, but I've been here. And
Wait a minute. You've been to the church that I was told about on the 14th.
I have been to, well, now see, that's what I'm saying. I've not been to the church in the woods. Hold on. I'm going to pull it up.
Oh my God. That is another thing that was bothering me. And because I know what I heard, and I was waiting for at trial for it to be mentioned that was, or even in one of the filings, that is one of the first resources that I know of that was reached out to for assistance to get an understanding of what the crime scene could mean.
So the Pine Grove Ministry Baptist Church is supposed to be located right here. Okay, and it's literally right around the corner from Abby's house. I've been out here and I've not seen this church. And there used to be a YouTube channel with now, and see, look, hold on. Right here's the bridge, the south end of the bridge. Let me switch my view.
I'm such a dummy. I was taking my fingers and I was swiping my phone to zoom in.
So here's the south end of the bridge right here.
Okay.
And this church, the home base of this church, now I could be wrong, and Radar, maybe you'll correct me, is right over here, Pine Grove Ministry Baptist Church. It's supposed to be like a German church. But when I've been over there, I've never been able to find this church, but it's on the map in 2017.
God, I always pictured it in the woods, like deep in the woods.
That's well, you know what? That's what I've always thought too. So, but hold on. Oh, where am I at? Okay, so hold on. Freedom Bridge. Let me get over here. Okay, so here's the south end of the bridge.
Okay.
Here is where the bodies were found. Right here. And then this is Weber's property. If you follow the creek bed down right here, there is a cabin with a cellar right here. Do you see it?
Yeah.
I don't know if the cellar is next to it, if the cellar is under it. But I do know.
Amy, is that the meat closet or something that someone was talking about? I was told it was looks like an outhouse, but it's like a meat shack or a meat hanger. Oh, I'm gonna throw up. Sorry, I can't.
It, it looks like a shack. I have pictures of it, but the thing is, a location like this is normally much closer to a residence. Like nobody, so like these residents right here aren't going to trek through the woods all this distance to go to a meat cellar. I'm thinking that this might be like a hunting shack or a hunting cabin where whoever owned it, they would meet there for like a weekend and maybe go hunting. But I just don't see along Deer Creek here anybody close enough that I mean, what if they're going to kill a deer? Are they going to hop on a four-wheeler and drive it all the way through the woods and dump it at this meat cellar? I feel like it's too far away.
Oh
But
God.
but so the other thing, which is interesting for everybody watching, is so we have the girls, the bodies are found here. Okay, on the other side of Deer Creek. We know that there are ample amount of paths that lead up to the cemetery, up to Ron Logan's property, which is right here. However, we have a witness that reports someone exiting the woods right here in front of the property at 5717 West 300 North and getting into a tan Nissan. Is that person getting in the tan Nissan as a passenger or a driver? I don't know. But this track right here would lead you all the way down the edge of Deer Creek, and right across here is the cellar. I'm just looking at this cellar and this shack as being a possible place of where girls could have been hidden overnight. Not that they weren't possibly hidden at Ron Logan's property. I don't know, but you know what? All the cards are on the table at this point.
I wanted to see Ron Logan's barn that he burned like what, a week or so later.
I don't think it was a week. It wasn't a week or so later.
No, it had to be a couple weeks later because the police were back out there.
Let me see.
It was it was before spring.
So in 2014, is the earliest that I can go, is the next timescape that I can go to versus 2017. So
okay.
let's see. There was a barn that was tore down. And I can't get a street view from this. 2017.
It's the one right in the center of your picture.
Huh?
It's the one right in the center of your picture that went.
What's that big circle thing?
I don't know. It might be a corral, like for his goats or something. I do know that there was something that was tore down, but I don't see which structure it was. Quester.
Yeah, I've got a mapping of the one that was taken down somewhere. I'll have a look and see.
Okay.
And that was like another strange thing that I remember back in 2017 is that everyone was talking about how people were taking down their barns. Don't know why, but that was another thing that was just always kind of weird to me. Yeah, that they were tearing down their barns or adding on to them. Another thing is that there was like a photo of a barn said it was supposed, I don't know if you're allowed to say the red word, red liquid from a person's body.
Blood.
Yeah. So there was a picture of a barn with flowers that became like a
Yes, yes,
memorial site.
I have that photo. I do. I have that
That
photo.
that was staged. That was staged. That wasn't real. That was
That
just for an image. It was all completely set up.
that
And
was Amir's barn.
oh, I heard it was.
Ernest
Gosh, no,
Bronco.
I heard it was a different person's barn, and they did it for a photo op. That it was not the Mears barn.
I've sent you a picture, Amy, on the messenger. Okay.
Donishi, how? Hello, hello.
Hello.
Okay, so
You there, Amy?
Did
Amy?
you find that barn?
Yeah, I've sent Amy a picture of it. Oh, she's dropped out.
Oh no. That wasn't, see, I'm more casual with like just picking my memory as it flows to me versus like, I know it's strange of how I'm thinking. And I don't know if it was just because of how the events went. Like I have to go like in a certain order, but I do remember the girl's clothing being found in the water and me questioning it. And in that same conversation, they had brought up a church out in the woods that law enforcement had to go. They went and used them as like guidance to what the crime scene meant. I remember that for like positive that was said.
Yeah, if I remember right, it was a Mears barn
It was a me.
that
Okay,
raised all
so
interest, but there was a
the,
one Logan one that was taken down, which is the picture I've sent Amy.
okay,
Unfortunately, she's gone at the moment.
will she be able to pop back in?
Yeah, just got a message that she got kicked out for some reason, so she's got to come back in.
Here I am.
There we are.
Sorry.
You got
Lord.
the picture I sent you, Amy?
I'm looking. I'm looking now. I got kicked from the internet. Oh, okay. Yeah.
See it?
Yes, I do. Hold on. I'm going to pull it up.
Oh,
Okay. So
No,
now
really, it's gone.
let's go back to Google Earth and see if it's there. That's pretty close to the house.
Yeah.
hmm.
Hold on. Isn't it sad that I know Ron Logan's address by heart? Oh, look at that. Hold on. So in 2017, let's look at 2018. You're right, Quester.
It's gone.
I'm always right.
You are always
Quester
right.
is always the way. His brain fascinates me, Quester. I swear.
Quester is always right.
But Amy, isn't it? And Quester, don't you both agree with me? It's weird that so many people around that area tore down their barns, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
Like,
it's extremely weird considering barns are pretty precious to a farm.
Yeah.
You don't just pull down barns.
And I'm curious to know. So going back to the Google Earth. So this is what I want to know. Going through all the filings and all of the lists that we have that's been made public. So wait a minute. Why am I not sharing my screen? Hold on.
See, and then I specifically remember hearing it's about the size of, it was either an old outhouse from the pioneer days. I don't know how you describe it. It was an old wooden outhouse turned into like a hunter's closet, oh, I can't say it. Sorry. I don't know why it grosses me out, the thought of it. One of that was being searched that night too. Sorry, I don't mean to be immature. I just cannot.
But you were told it was searched on whose property that you were told?
I don't know. And then over the years,
Logan wasn't searched that night.
Do what? What, Quester?
Logan's property wasn't searched that night. It took a few days before they got a warrant.
Oh yeah, that's true. No,
a few days. It was longer than a few days. So this was February 13th. They didn't get a warrant until I think the 2nd and 3rd. They had 2 warrants, but they were both in March. But I just put this in perspective, taking into account what Keegan and Ron Logan told Reese, that Libby was held in a barn. So she would have been brought up from down here, from the crime scene. And that would probably be the closest barn to his back door. But what's frustrating for me is, we have a list of the business cameras, and we got that from the majority of the list we got from a filing that Nick McClellan posted that listed all of the business cameras. Since then, I've been told that Tina Garrison, who lived right here, there were 2 cameras at this property seized or taken or volunteered. Now, her property sat back off the road, so I don't know what those cameras consist of. But this yellow track here is Kelsey's path from out there on 500 North at Becky Patty's. So this camera would have captured Kelsey German coming in. These are just some notable pieces of information that I have marked on this Google Earth map. So we know that there was a cell tower directly across the street from Ron Logan's house, which is right here. That wasn't in use. And then Reese claimed that Ron Logan described putting boots and clothes into a burn pit across the way. Well, I'm wondering if across the way, there's an area here. I couldn't find it, but trust me, I didn't get out of my car and walked this area, but I couldn't see it from my car on 300 North. But this area right here is kind of where Reese described the fire pit would have been, which if Ron Logan burned clothes off site, that wouldn't have been included in the warrant. So that might have been a reason why they weren't found. Anywho,
So I've got one
Hang
of my
on.
notebooks for Delphi. I was lucky because like each one of my offices, it's so funny. I always find a little book of Delphi notes. One of them was that I have written in 2017 is that tattoos, cults that many guys had. Does anyone remember anything about that?
no.
Anyone talking about tattoos that a group of guys had? I don't know why I have this on here. That's all I have.
Tattoo. Well, yeah, there are some people like Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall where there's tattoos discussed, but nothing in reference to when you say Colts, is that like the football team?
CULT.
Cult.
The
Oh,
cult. The cult.
Colt.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry. I thought you said Colt. Colt. Oh, well, yeah, that plays right into some of this.
I have that as one of my notes. And then I have body drained. And then I have
You have a note in your book from 2017 of body drained.
yep.
You
It
don't
just
know
says
why.
body. No,
Do you
I
know
don't
why
know
you
why.
wrote that?
No, I wish I did. But I don't. And then this is from 2017. Rock placements and sticks. 2 trees. Letter. 2 letters. Tree. 1 tree. Main focus.
Can you take a picture of these notes and send them to me, please?
Yeah.
Please.
But this
Okay.
wouldn't be like my main, like I said, so I have one book that did catch fire, and I think that one has like the most important stuff because that was the one that I always had with me. But because of my line of work and my travel, I always have a notebook. But I ran into someone, I won't say what his job is, but it just says that there are a lot of drugs. You knew what areas not to go into. A lot of rough people. You wouldn't believe the things that they do. I have that written down. Outhouse building, meat, blah, hunters. Yeah. No, can't say it. I'm so immature. I can't. I gag.
You're fine.
Let me see. Nothing. Group of girls. Oh, okay. There was a runner out there that no one ever talks about.
A runner?
A runner. No one ever talks about it, but yeah, I have a runner here. It says a runner, not a walker.
A runner like a jogger, like somebody out there physically trying to stay fit on
Yeah,
the trails? On
yeah,
the trails?
yep. Because like I'm a runner, so yeah.
That wouldn't be considered Betsy Blair?
No,
Was it a male or a female? Do you know?
female. Female.
A female runner, but not
Yeah.
Betsy Blair.
Right.
Where, do you remember where you got that information from?
Yes, it would just be a conversation somewhere. Every time that I went either to like where I live, it gets like kind of hot and I get I don't know, but I will fly in a lot. So that's why, some of my notes are just so random.
That's all
And
right.
then I have here starred nothing ever to do with Abby. Nothing ever to do with Abby. And then I have Libby talking back and forth with someone's dad.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, I need you to take photographs of these and send them to me, and then we're gonna stop going over these notes. Just give screenshot them and send them so I can get them to people that.
But that's what I'm saying. This is like also scattered, and I wish my one notebook I still had, but like I do have another notebook, and that's at home in my office. So,
Well, I need
I
you when
need
you go home. I need you to find it.
yeah, because I'm going home for a little bit, and then, but yeah, that's what I have here. And then I heard that there was a proper. Oh, I have it here that somebody's property was searched within a week. It looks like. So I'll get
Yeah,
all this.
there was a couple of property. There was a couple of properties searched. I think Weber's was one of them, and Maxwell's. I think Maxwell's was the other one. There were a lot of search warrants that were kept under the radar. I don't know how many, and I don't know where, but there were a lot. Well, anywho, it's 4:00. I work tomorrow. I've got to cook dinner. Quester.
Oh, Amy,
Yes.
I don't want to be rude and interrupt, but I do have a halo above Abby's head, Libby's head, Abby's head.
I remember you saying that. That wasn't a crime scene photo?
Yeah, and I want to throw up. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, when you said that there was a halo above Abby's head, what way? And like what was it? Was it branches? Was it grass?
Yeah.
What was it? What was it?
I call it a halo, but it could be just a circle, but it's of twigs like forming a circle.
Are you sure it's over Libby's head?
Oh, that's my note.
Libby's head.
Abby's red hair.
Abby has red hair, yeah, and Libby is blonde. So
Yeah,
whose head?
it was Abby. She had it was the circle. It looks like it's above her head.
Okay, because some people have described that. Well, Elvis Fields described it as someone giving her antlers.
I do have that she had sticks in her hair. I have it written down, but I don't have it labeled as antlers. You know, and it like just sticks in her hair.
Some people call it antlers. Some people call it horns. You know, it's first of all, I'm not going to say it's anything other than the fact that no one should have known there was anything in her hair, and Elvis Fields did. That's concerning. I'm not going to say it's horns. I'm not going to say it's antlers or a halo, but the fact that somebody outside of law enforcement had any kind of detail about something being in Abby's hair, that is a serious concern. And that's a nexus, which is the key word of this entire phenomenon of a trial, a nexus. Judge Gall, there's no nexus. We can't put this in. We can't let these people testify. He's not a suspect because there's no DNA. Really? Rick is on the top. Rick is on the top of every single one of those lists. There's nothing other than this bullshit bullet.
I have right here a slow thinker. Sorry. A slow thinker confessed, offered a jacket.
That would have been Elvis.
Yeah, slow thinker.
Yeah, slow thinker. That's a, oh, you're so nice. You're so freaking nice. A slow thinker. Yeah, yeah.
See, now I'm waking up, and now like I had a migraine earlier, so I didn't say like, so I wasn't in the right mind when I first joined, but yeah, I'm like it's all coming to me, like it's like it's flowing. It takes me a while to flow, but also I do have a lot of guilt that I wasn't more serious with my like details of information, like
So
I know.
just do me a favor.
What?
My request of you is to not expand on the information that you were given. Don't let anybody discuss with you the case and make you expand on what you don't know. Or
Oh,
fill in,
I've
or
already
fill
talked
in
about
blanks.
everything. Huh?
Don't let anybody help you fill in blanks. Just stick to what you have.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Take photographs of your note pages and send them to me, and we will talk behind the scenes. But
Okay.
yeah, don't let anybody fill in the gaps. Quester, do you have anything for Veronica or the chat before we get off?
Um,
Don't say
well,
no.
you were talking about search warrants issued. There were a lot. I've managed to identify several of them.
Uh-huh.
For instance, there were 2 in Bicycle Road. One Maxwell, which you know.
Yes.
I've yet to find out exactly who the second one was.
James, okay, so the Maxwell search warrant, we went over this a long time ago, and I did show the supplemental report in regards to this and why the search warrant was issued. And it is because so James Maxwell, I think it was Logan Maxwell's dad or grandfather. They all lived at the same residence on Bicycle Road. He had gone into a gas station and purchased something to drink. Someone tipped him in. He drove a white truck.
Amy, I have a thing on my notes right here. It says Bicycle Road ?
That's the Maxwell residence. So
oh my God.
You know something else that caused that warrant?
He was tipped in. So yeah, he went to a gas station or a convenience store locally and bought something to drink or something. And somebody working there thought that he resembled the bridge guy photo. So they tipped him in, and he was driving a white pickup truck. So he was pulled over either later that day or the next day. And he was pulled over, and there was the cop that pulled him over called for backup. This is all in a supplemental report, and I'm paraphrasing here.
Hello, you've gone quiet.
Oh no. Oh no. Tune in, Tokyo.
While she's off, I'll tell you one other thing that caused that Maxwell search warrant. Was someone tipped in that a Maxwell was seen covered in blood. Now, Ellie say that it turned out that was animal blood.
Oh. Ugh.
Yeah.
I can't understand that. Well, I can't. Well, I cannot. Oh my God, I just got lightheaded in my ears. So that
if they're right, it was animal blood. That means he was out hunting somewhere.
Okay. It is strange. On my notebook, I have Bicycle Road.
Yeah, two
And then
places there.
If I was reading it, I would have thought like somebody was riding their bike on the road or something. So that's
I'm back.
neat.
Sorry.
I'm glad that you said that was someone's address to refresh my memory.
Yeah,
because I would have thought somebody was riding their bike.
So yeah,
That
no,
is so
no,
weird. That is so weird.
yeah,
You guys
no,
are amazing.
he wasn't riding. No, he wasn't riding a bike. It was so he got pulled over, and his name was I believe James Maxwell, and he had a weapon on his front seat bench in his white pickup truck. So the officer that pulled him over called for backup. They got him out of the truck, and while the one officer was questioning him, the other officer was kind of walking around the truck, and they noticed what they thought was blood on his truck. And it's very weird when you read the supplementary report, because there's detail, but there's like no one's freaking out like, oh my God, there's blood on his truck. Like, so they state in this supplemental report that this person, this Mr. Maxwell, asks, is this about the murders of Abby and Libby? And the officer describes in the supplemental report that Maxwell is crying, that he has tears coming down his face. And he's basically told, I don't remember what the response was to him, whether it was yes or no, it's a routine stop. But he was asked, are you crying? Why would you be crying? And his response was, I don't know. It might be the wind.
Right. You want a bit of detail behind the Maxwells?
Huh?
Do you want a little bit of detail behind the Maxwells?
Yeah, there is a lot of detail behind the Maxwells.
Yeah. Yes, he was seen near Marathon gas station, muddy, etc. The search warrant on him, though, was limited just electronics and firearms. And they took quite a few firearms away. Now, the interesting thing is his son was a friend of Libby's. And Tara German, said that the son wasn't living with the father at the time of the murders. He was living in a block, just a block away from Tara. And she described him as creepy and said she saw him on the trail on the 13th going and leaving north by Anderson Grange.
Yes, she claimed that she saw him on the railroad track, didn't she?
I've got it written down trail, but it could be the railroad track.
Yes,
and
you're right.
Leaving, going north by Anderson Grain Co.
Yep.
Yeah. He was also seen on the old Red Bridge.
Oh, that's a new one. Jesse, you can name drop whatever you want. Welcome, Jessie, to the chat. She's a friend of mine.
Aw.
Yeah, Radar is saying, AKA Radar is saying that, yes, he was seen on the tracks. Yes, I remember Tara German. Yeah. I didn't know about the railroad bridge, which is even more interesting. Critical Thinker says by Rayleigh Voorhees' house. I'm assuming is what she means by Rayleigh Voorhees. So Rayleigh Voorhees lived on Indiana Street. Oh, Jason Linker. Guys, if anybody has heard of the name Jason Linker, Jesse wants to know.
There were other search warrants issued. There was one in Peru. I'm guessing declines. Then one in Lebanon.
We don't know.
Said that the initials for that person is GK. Would you agree with that, Amy?
In Lebanon, I mean, GK, the first thing that pops out to me is Garrett Kurtz, but I don't know. Garrett Kurtz was from Brookston, unless someone that he was staying with in his family was living in Lebanon. I don't know. And I don't remember ever there being a search warrant in regards to Delphi, but that might be something that wasn't ever put out there. Linker.
And then there was another one issued for Logan Sport.
That should have been Brad Holder.
More than likely, yeah.
So, okay, in chat really quick, let me just kind of give you an overview. Linker, Lenker. If anyone has any information on a Steve or a Jason Linker, get that information to me. Steve Linker would have been a nurse and possibly affiliated with search and rescue and a diver as a diver search and rescue. I'm not going to go into details about the circumstances surrounding that name, but if anybody has any information, ever came across anybody in law enforcement in Indiana or as a nurse of Steve Linker, son being Jason Linker, daughter being Ashley Linker.
Can you spell that, Linker?
I have Ashley's name on here.
Lenker.
I have Ashley's name. Why would I have her name written down?
The name, because there's a lot of Ashleys associated with this case. There's an Ashley Wright, who was Ron Logan's girlfriend. There's an Ashley Garth, who was Garrett Kurtz's ex-girlfriend. So unless you have a last name, at the first name,
Ashley Linker. But I have it Lanker.
Do you?
Yep.
Under what pretense?
I don't know. It's just a scribble.
Can I put
But
you in contact?
I have it Lanker.
And that's fine. Jesse and Veronica, can I put the two of you in contact with each other?
Yes.
Okay. I will do that.
Wait, but why would I have Ashley's name on here?
I don't know.
Well, I could throw up. Okay.
If it's on there, it's not good. I'm going to tell you that right now.
And in my notes, I have that Abby and
Hey,
Libby.
Judge Jessica.
Abby and Libby both dated Logan.
Logan Maxwell.
No.
Logan Holder.
Holder, yeah. My JJ's here. My JJ.
Hey, Judge Jessica.
Oh my goodness, I
Good
love
to
her.
see you. You just popped in. We're getting ready to hop off, girl. You're going to have to go back and watch.
Well, I need to know why I have Ashley. Well, so it's Linker, Lenker, not A-N?
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's not A-N. It's Lenker.
Okay. A lot of times I don't have my notes and I don't pay attention to them. So I'm glad I'm glad that I have this.
Okay. So I will connect you with Jessica, and Jessica will fill you in. She'll fill you in. And everybody else, I have to go fix dinner. I have 3 days of work left. God
That's
bless
rude.
America. And until the big day. So then you guys will probably hear, you guys will probably get sick of me because I'll be off. And Quester, you just need to clear away your table and make room for live streams for the next couple of weeks. The marathon, all that good jazz. I will be, I'm trying to work things out with Ted. We need to do another recording on American Betrayed. And I'm still trying to pull in a lot for the marathon. So once I get all of that complete, plus everything that we've got going on behind the scenes, it's a lot. So Quester, before we go?
Not a lot to add.
Huh?
Don't want to. Not a lot to add. Don't want to open out massive avenues again.
Well, I just want to say that thank you for letting me talk. And the only reason why I'm concerned about Shelby is just because of the way of how drastic her version was to me. But I don't think that looks can be deceiving. I never picked up anything nefarious from her, like nothing bad or like she was trying to be harmful to people, or it looks like that she wouldn't even kill an ant, like, or swat a fly. But I could
just do me a favor and don't put the cart before the horse. And that's not what we're saying. However, she has to know more than what she's ever told, because her story doesn't make sense. And I don't know if that's her way of distancing herself and wanting to not be involved in a case like this. And I get that, but at the expense of two little girls, that's just completely not acceptable. You know what I mean? And maybe, I mean, I would love if you could just reach out to her on Facebook or pick up the phone and call her and just ask her, like, girl, why did you tell me one thing and then testify to something different?
I have her phone number and I thought about doing that, but like, one, that's awkward. Two, I feel like a stalker. Three, well, it's just weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want to.
But what's even more weird is her knowing something and not saying anything.
But I felt like that would be where the one of the attorneys would say something.
Exactly. No, you're absolutely right. And unfortunately, we didn't get that. No one picked up on the timeline.
Or even the people out there. And that's why I don't want to talk badly about Baldwin and Rossi, but I will say it's my fault, because you should never do this. But when I was asking some of my friends that's in their field and their peers, I thought that they were rock stars, and I just expected,
like Fig just said, you trusted the process,
right? And I didn't know about bad cops until this case. This case and Gypsy Rose Blanchard. I did not know that there were bad cops. I don't watch those type of movies. I just thought it was a movie thing. I figured if there was a bad cop, it would be out of New York, because that's where the mafia are.
No, it's in small little counties where they think no one's watching, for the most part, is where they attempt to get away with the worst of the worst when no one's watching. Guys, I just posted the Case by Case Facebook group link in the chat. Please, Jessica, if you're not already in there, get in there. A lot of the people here in the chat are in there. You can communicate with them privately through Messenger. That way, I have a lot of people on here right now asking for pictures of the linkers and all of that. So you can do that in the group, preferably in private Messenger. Otherwise, you're going to start a flurry of chaos and people they're going to blow up the page. So those of you who are interested in what she has to say, who are willing to do the research, I'm researching amongst a billion other things. So I can use all the help I can get. Again, I dropped the links for how you can support the channel. Everything raised right now is going to go towards me going to Delphi, which all the information, research, video, all that's going to come back right here to the channel. Veronica, I want to thank you for coming on. I have to hop off here and start dinner.
Okay. Thanks,
I will-
Can I
everybody.
ask you a quick question, Amy?
Yes.
What time, you mentioned the tan Nissan earlier. What time was it seen on that road?
For what?
Tan Nissan.
The tan Nissan, it was seen at 4:30. So 30 minutes after Sarah Carball claimed that she saw Muddy Bloody.
Right. 4:30, 4:30. Couldn't
Yep,
have been
4:30.
earlier by about half an hour.
The tip was 4:30.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so
That's messed up.
Veronica,
Yes.
please take photos of your notes and send them to me. And
Okay.
guys, everybody else, I will keep you posted on when our next live is. Please join the Facebook group. Please contribute to the channel. Hype the video if you haven't already liked and subscribed. Please do that. It helps. Going forward, I really, 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 really want to do some coverage on the upcoming Alec Murdaugh case, simply because I don't think he's innocent, but I'm curious to find out if there were other involved, number one. Number two, I'm curious to learn about the genetic genealogy, the Apple Health data, and the ballistics, which all tie into what we are focusing on here in the Delphi case. So if I do some lives on that, please join me. And I also plan to do a trial recap on the Lindsay Clancy case. I've been watching and following. My oldest daughter is hot and heavy on that case. She's a superstar and she knows all the ins and outs on that case. And I may have her on to do a nice mom and daughter debate. So I'll let you know if we get that scheduled. Anything else, Quester? Veronica?
No,
No?
that's just it. I apologize, everybody, for being scattered earlier and just like not being clear, I guess. Or annoying, just trying to gather
No.
my thoughts. So I apologize to everyone for being a little bit slow. I know it's annoying because I annoy myself sometimes. But thank you. Like I said, this is all organic. This was nothing like, I'm not a sleuth or anything. And I would, but like I said, I have crazy guilt for some reason lately. That's just like, it's a crazy amount of guilt that I didn't pay more attention. But then again, it doesn't matter what I know. It doesn't matter. I feel like now it doesn't matter what anyone knows because we're not the legal system that can bamboozle anybody. It's only certain name badges that have a way, and I don't know how you fight it. My brain doesn't think in those terms, and so Stephanie, I don't know if it was like nerves. It's just I feel bad that I just my memory is not as great as what it was even when Rick was arrested, and I just didn't pay more attention to details or ask questions. And just like with Shelby, like I specifically remember her saying that she approached the trials and saw Daniel there, or the guy that she was seeing, and then she insisted it wasn't her arguing. I've got to talk about it like that because it was so casual. You know what I mean? Like it's a certain flow, but yeah, I annoy myself too. So I get it, guys.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I appreciate you coming on. I really do. And I think the chat does. And we'll have you back on again. And
okay. But I promise you, I told Liv to go get her car. Did she go back? I don't know. But I promise you, I know that was such a major thing because she was like, I was going back. The whole conversation that we had. So I promise you, she said her dad called her to go get her car.
okay.
Okay, bye guys. I'll keep talking.
All right.
Now that my brain's blowing.
All right.
I gotta go. Bye everyone.
Send me those screenshots. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Quester, anything?
No, you get off and do your dinner.
Okay. Well, I will be. We'll chat through the night and in the early morning hours, like we always do. Thanks everybody for being here. Thank you for the good luck wishes. Friday. Thank you under your scars. Friday should be okay. It should go smoothly. My goal is to be back up and moving at least to this computer desk on Sunday. So cross your fingers.
Take it easy.
Yeah. All right, guys. Love you all. Hype the video when we're off. See you later. Good night.
Good night.